Okay, assuming we're good to go. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our July monthly community conversation. I'm Jen. I'm a volunteer and I do programs in education for Project Human Inc., or think, as we like to call it. These monthly calls are space where our community comes together to explore topics that impact us in mental, emotional, just overall well-being kind of ways. And we don't talk too clinically, we talk about real stuff. We try and think about how things impact us in our real lives and what it means to be a human in this space. So it can get messy, it can be beautiful, and we can do it together. So I want to tell you a little bit about tonight's topic. It is freedom and transformation, the hats we wear. And we acknowledge that throughout our lives, we wear many different hats, as the metaphor is. Some hats we choose, and some are handed to us. Others seem to like slowly and quietly become part of our identity, and we forget to either stop and say, is this still who I am? Is this right for the situation in my life right now? A few disclaimers before we get started for Project Human. We are not medical professionals. We are humans just like you. If you are in a crisis, please reach out to your local mental health resources or dial 911 for immediate assistance. If you need national suicide prevention support, please dial 988 immediately. Letting you know we are recording and live streaming tonight's event on YouTube. If you do not wish to be on video or audio, please take a minute to turn off your camera or microphone. We will be using tonight's conversations for advertising, promotions, and raising awareness about these topics and Project Human, our mission, our organization. So by participating in these Zoom meetings, you give us permission to use all of that audio and video. And thank you. If you've never heard of Project Human before, we are a human first nonprofit focused on bridging the gaps in mental and emotional health using communication, education, creative expression, art, and community connection, just like this call where we talk, just human to human. And our work creates intentional access points for people to pause and reflect and connect and support in a real way that feels human, that feels approachable, and doesn't feel clinical or sterile or awkward or judgmental. At least we definitely don't try to be judgmental. Through these monthly community conversations, our quarterly mental health days, our Artist Within podcast, and any creative initiative that we have undertaken, we like to bring lived experiences and resources and education and insights to the community to just help us all be human and get through this together. Um, if you need healing, if you need strength and you don't think you have it, you have a community to support you. And we want to give you that space, that change to begin a new life, begin a new focus, begin a new mindset with one honest moment of connection. And it's July. July 4th happened to be our 250th nation's birthday. So I figured we could explore something around the word freedom, not specifically the freedoms we have as a nation, but the freedoms we experience or some don't experience as humans in our own lives. And that got me thinking about identity and the different identities we can all seem to have at once. And I want to use the analogy of these identities as hats we wear. So you might have heard this like at school or at work, and people talk about, oh, I'm putting on my I'm putting on my financial hat, or I'm putting on my manager hat, or I'm putting on my employee hat, or I'm putting on my student hat. And that might be relatable to you. So I hope it can work for you for our conversation tonight. And as you know, throughout our lives, we have many different roles. We wear different hats. Some are obvious, some that we choose, and some that kind of just, find us. And we slip into those roles because we think we need to or we feel called to. And maybe you've already worn a hat today. So let's think about that metaphor for you. Maybe you've worn a hat called parent. Maybe you've worn a hat called spouse, employee, friend, neighbor, caregiver, maybe even somebody's personal chauffeur. And those are just the hats that maybe you woke up and wore before lunch. It's interesting that every hat that we wear comes with responsibilities and expectations, and we have to live up to them. But they also come with these little stories, these things that they make us believe that maybe we never questioned. Maybe we forget to question. And tonight I thought it could be fun to explore some of those hats together and maybe ask ourselves whether we're wearing the hat or maybe the hat started wearing us. So let's start here. I'm going to ask everybody, how many different hats, roles, do you think you've already worn today? You
I
don't need to
love,
name them all, just throw out a
yeah,
number.
I love this reference because I'm, in marketing and marketing. If you ever look at a marketing job description, they usually say, "Wears multiple hats." I love this. Yeah, I think even within my job, I probably had 7 hats, so maybe like 10 today. What about you, babe?
I was thinking more like personal, like family stuff, like hats that have come up today for me. So it's been like maybe like 5 or 6. So,
I've recently had a teammate that was my team lead. He changed roles, and found me, whether I wanted it or not, in a new role. And I'm kind of learning my way through it. It's only been a couple weeks now, but I find myself wearing a lot of different hats I never had to wear before. And it actually feels like you said, are the hats wearing us? Some of them feel like they're wearing me rather than me wearing them. But it's an adjustment. It's a process. Some of them are teacher. I'm learning to teach a role that I feel like I'm still learning myself, and I'm also operating as a sort of a mentor and a lead, operating as an advocate. It's a lot, and it I can see how people can get overwhelmed easily in these.
Well, Daniel, I just heard five: teacher, mentor, employee, lead. It stacks. Yolanda, how many do you think you've worn already today? Oh, and you're back on mute.
Okay, sorry, kids. Um, Probably, if I have to be honest, probably anywhere from 6 to 12. I can't tell you how many hats I'm always all over the place. So,
Yeah, and
always
it's
go ahead.
crazy how quickly you're switching between the hats, or maybe you've got like five
Listen,
different hats and all the bills
I
are focusing different ways.
I've had a lot of learned experience, so it wasn't always easy I didn't create the mobile hat of movement. When I was younger, I was always trying to like grab a new one. Now I just kind of spin it. I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah,
Next. Like
and
so it's not nearly as hard as it used to be.
exactly.
Sometimes it can still be difficult, but
We keep changing them. It's like they're on a spinning rotation. Maybe we're taking them off, putting them on, these layers of identity. And it sometimes it feels fluid. It's there, it's natural. And other times it's like,
Mhm.
oh God, this hat weighs like 28 pounds. So I want to show you guys something to just kind of bring into focus this idea and maybe add a layer of visibility to all the hats that you could be wearing. I am putting up a slide and just a second. And, I want to ask everybody to look at the slide. Like, think about your answer. Maybe type it in chat, maybe say it out loud. Which one or two come to mind as like the hat you wear most often these days? So, just look. I know the list isn't complete. We have some blanks for later, but which one or two do you think you're wearing most often these days? The peacemaker. Dig it.
doing a lot of the relationships column. dealing with my mom and my kids, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so in this case, you're a parent and you're also a child. Maybe you're also a caregiver, boss. I'm seeing in the chat, boss. Yeah, and you also mentioned parent. You're also a parent, Yolanda. Daniel, you were talking about coach and mentor as well as teacher. Yep, yep.
I
And
think,
for me, I
go ahead.
think spouse and partner is one that I'm most in these days. So, you know, what hats did we miss? You've got categories here in relationships, life roles, experiences, excuse me, the hat we become, like growing up. I see, like the strong one. So I come from many people do, a divorced parent background, and um, my parents struggled. And if I was strong and focused, and I was, like you said, the peacemaker, or I was the focused one, the responsible one, the good student, these like hats of must be this role, then I thought I could create stability in my world. And I remember wearing those like hat we become roles pretty avidly during that time just for survival. But what did we miss? I think teacher,
I mean, I think the
mentor and
biggest
coach.
one, there's nothing
Go ahead.
about there's nothing about ourself on there. There's nothing about the self on that list.
Explore more with me. What do you mean?
Everything on that list is more about someone else, a relationship or something you're having with another person versus
Sure. So
you.
you're saying the self could
Minus
be a hat.
maybe minus the survivor part because a lot of that you're working on, but for the most part, most of those are still looking at yourself through a glass or whatever of somebody else.
Would you say, Yolanda, that the self is a hat we put on, or the person who wears no hats?
I think the self is realizing that we're the hat rack.
So the one that wears no hats is the person that is the hat rack. So these are just identities that we layer upon ourselves. These hats we wear are identities. And the self usually is picking a hat or receiving a hat as a lens through which to operate in the world. And many hats get juggled on our heads every day, sometimes simultaneously. It can be exhausting. Life can feel pretty heavy sometimes wearing all these hats. Some of them describe what we do. Some of them describe who people think we are. And then they can describe who we've started believing we have to be. The hats aren't the problem, though. It's everything that comes with them that could burden us or confuse us or layer judgments at the world through wearing these hats. And that's what I think that we can explore together is what comes with those hats and how they could be shaping the way we think about ourselves or the choices we make. So I'll stop sharing that slide for right now. So consider again, we all talked about what hat we're wearing most these days. What comes with that or those like main hats that you're wearing? What responsibilities? What expectations? What pressure? What joy? What stress? Maybe all of the above. What's coming with that? And just take a minute, write it in the chat. What strings are attached to those hats that you're wearing the most? Maybe you have a pressure that you need to be better. Maybe you have a pressure to believe that you're not yet better or not good enough. Expectations. Dig into that more, Alicia. What expectations are coming with your hats?
Yeah, it's interesting because some of them I think are expectations of others, but some of them are like self-imposed expectations. So, like I think at work there's expectations from your boss or from your coworkers, but then there's also the expectations that, different people put on themselves. And I think I put higher expectations on myself than I do others. So, and I think others don't necessarily put as high of expectations on themselves, on me as I do myself.
That can be a double-edged sword.
Mm.
One, you push for what you believe is excellence, and two, you burn yourself out because you never see like the bar. When you hit the bar, you think, well, I can do better, and
I
the
just
bar
forget it.
moves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yolanda, you talked about showing up, a kind of responsibility to be the responsible one, maybe. So what does showing up look like to you?
Well, think, well, a conversation. So I have a lot of conversations in and outside of Think. Um, I am a women's leader, and so I have a lot of conversations with women constantly about all aspects of life and how to live it, and with their partners, or if they're single, or if they're in school. Showing up for those conversations, those phone calls, the same things for my children, for my family. Um, if someone's in need, to do so. But at the same time, showing up for myself, making sure that I have a responsibility to me first. Kind of like in the airplane, the thing comes down, you have to breathe first before you can, same thing, because I realize, like, if I'm not doing that for me, and allowing myself to focus and flourish on all the things that I need to, I'm not going to be in very good spirits or in a very good mindset to help other people through theirs. And I might not be able to help them um, work out whatever it is that they're going through, you know?
And you feel the responsibilities of these hats that you wear, like women's leader, like coach, like Project Human volunteer, and you have a demand for yourself in showing up for those roles. And it might not be clear as day that you are demanding things of yourself to show up effectively when you put those hats on, but those are the responsibilities that come with those hats. They're not necessarily what you demand of yourself to just function as a human.
I think
I must be so that I can do best when I'm in these roles.
I think for me though, even though I love where you're going with all the hats things, I don't wear hats. I refuse to wear hats. Like in real life, obviously. But in the same thing, I don't like defining my personal narrative is much more than a hat, if that makes sense. And so I get the idea of like we break it down, but it's kind of like it's so much more to me. So it's like when we talk about, I feel like it's limiting, me, not anybody else. It's but for myself, I feel like it's kind of limiting.
So I like where you're going with that, and I'm going to track with it.
Okay.
It's not just responsibilities or expectations that come with these roles that we put on ourselves. They come with beliefs. They come with what we think we should do, or what we should be, or how we should act, or how we must show up. And
Mhm.
sometimes we don't even remember where all the shoulds and musts and have tos came from. They're just there. Or like they come into being after you wear the hat for a bit. And it's important, like what Yolanda does, to question the hat, question those beliefs, those shoulds, those musts, those have tos, especially when the hat might not bring with it the healthiest or friendliest perspective for any given moment. So, like, have you ever caught yourself bringing the wrong hat to the wrong situation?
Sorry, shouldn't have laughed, but I
Totally
No,
laugh.
you should laugh.
That's a
Like,
yes. I need to
the
hear
wrong
it.
hat, wrong situation. Like, yes, laugh. That's
You have a
So
story?
perfect.
I joke that drunk Alicia is named Kesha. So,
Oh,
so
wow, like the
Kesha has
G6.
definitely been where she should not have been, right, babe?
No comment.
That's the best one that I have, just because it's more fun. But yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely been, like when in my younger years, I've showed up to work with more of like my friendly hat rather than like my PC, like, corporate hat on. And then, there's definitely been times where I've been, trying to be the peacemaker and the mediator where somebody wanted me to be more of like a listener or, you know, instead of just like a problem solver.
Oh my God, do I feel that? Preach.
Libra, Libra unite.
I am so, so guilty of never taking my problem solver hat off ever, not even in the shower. I live in my problem solver hat and it sucks. I have to be physically reminded sometimes, hey, don't need you to solve my problem, just need you to listen.
Yep.
And it's a hat that literally is stuck to my head. Like I've grown into it. It probably has skin growing over it at this point. Like I've come home from work wearing my manager hat and tried to manage my husband, and that is not a healthy thing to do. Um, it's kind of embarrassing. Sometimes it leads to arguments.
It's real though.
It's real. I mean,
It's real.
we get in a mindset and sometimes we get stuck there. Like O'Neill, maybe you mentioned taking care of your parent. Maybe sometimes you get so caught up in the role of caretaker that it can be hard to just hang out and be a person sitting next to your parent instead of trying to figure out what's best for them and how they need to do things in order to have a better life. And maybe they don't like being told what to do because they've been around a lot longer and think they know better. So we've all brought, the wrong hat perspective, series of shoulds and musts and has to be's to a conversation or to a situation. It happens, but it teaches us through those embarrassing moments, those awkward moments, to create awareness of where we're coming from, to be humble sometimes about what we're bringing with us, and try and remember that we're wearing a hat. We still have it on.
I feel like
And
no matter what hat you wear, it's all a matter of perspective and how you go about wearing the hat. And I feel like you can do that same thing with all the hats.
yeah.
It's just a matter of how you wear it,
Hmm. And because we're wearing them so often, uh, trying to just cultivate awareness that we're often in it, that it feels like it's glued onto our head and that's part of who we are, but maybe it's not who we are. Like these hats, these things that we are in the space of being, that identity, that role, um, their responsibilities, the stories, the beliefs that they come with, they start to influence how we think and how we feel and how we see the world. And they include stories about what is true and shoulds and shouldn'ts, like we talked about before, but like believing those truths because we operate in them so frequently causes us to sometimes get pigeonholed and we forget to stop and question, is this actually true? Um, and I want to do an exercise about truth in the perspective of a hat that you're wearing. So I want each of you to think about this first and then finish the sentence for me. And I'll put it in the chat. But because I'm a blank, I should always blank. So think about this. I'm going to put it in the chat. Because I am a blank, I should always blank. And think about one of your hats and think about what you believe comes with that. So I'll give you an example from my end. Because I am a wife, I should put my husband's and family's needs first. Because I want people to see me as the strong and capable one, I shouldn't ask for help because that would be burdening someone. And I don't need it because I'm strong and capable. Or because I'm retired, I shouldn't try to take on another career. I'm too old. So these are some beliefs or some perspectives that might come with some of the roles, these hats that I've accepted. So give it a thought. Because I am a blank, I should always, or this is true. Maybe you want to say them out loud, just kind of feel them out, maybe not write them in the chat.
Because I'm a dad, I always got to listen with an open ear to my kids. Like my daughter, she got into a car accident yesterday,
Oh
and
my
so
gosh, I'm so
I needed to
sorry.
be there for her and listen. And I was worried about her, of course, as a dad would be. And so I just wanted to make sure, that everything got taken care of and stuff like that. So you always
Did
have
you
to kind
feel
of be dependable, I guess I should always be dependable, as a dad.
did you feel responsibility to make sure that everything was followed through on to resolve it?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I felt like I needed to get in the truck and go over there, She lives in Tampa and I'm in Gainesville, so it's a little bit of a drive, but she was like, I got it, Dad, don't worry. So
Uh, I've I've been there. I know what that's like. You want to solve it for them.
yeah,
You want to make sure all the boxes are checked because not because they can't, but because they shouldn't have to. They're your baby.
right,
But these are should statements. These are I must statements. You raised a capable young person. They are a young, functioning adult human, learning valuable lessons of fending for themselves.
right.
Okay. I have one,
Go.
and on live it makes me a little weirded out, but that's okay. I'm gonna say it anyway. Um, because I am a child of God, I should always show mercy. And just so people are aware what I mean by mercy, compassion, mercy is compassion that moves into action. And so when we talk about mercy or being merciful, it's exactly some of the stuff we do in Fink is where we show up with another human being, we walk alongside them in life, and we realize that we're no better off than this person. So who are we to judge? Who are we to act like they don't deserve the conversation or the breath of their voice? They are always, always, always deserving of that. So that's mine.
I love that. That's very
Thanks.
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I, it's just my life. Thank you, though. I'm just like, it's just my life. And by any
Create a
means,
lot of space for others.
I am not, I'm also really humble in the fact that I'm an idiot. Okay. And if I'm the person that's like, hey, it's let's walk this way. I'll even hold your hand. I sit there and I look at myself going, am I really the one who should be doing that? And then it's like, yes, because you're the one willing to do it, so
Could
You're in
you
a good
frame
place.
that as because I'm willing to help, I must help, or because I'm the one capable of helping, I must help?
it's not even a must. It's almost mm, it's almost like how if you have some like okay, so like if you're an artist or you love to draw or you love to take pictures or you love to do something, stewardship is my thing. It's what I love to do. It doesn't matter how I do it as long as it's getting done. Doesn't matter if I'm a chef, if I'm a photographer, I'm a hairdresser, if I'm a makeup artist, if I'm helping mentoring something, if I'm talking to ladies, if I'm talking to men, it doesn't really matter what the thing is as long as I'm helping them progress their life uh, in a helpful manner. And that doesn't always mean God is involved, if that makes sense, in the conversation. However, he is always involved because I'm always involved. So,
That's awesome.
and I don't talk about this very often. That's why I'm turning so red. It makes me nervous in front of, I mean, I trust you guys, but like still, it's one of those things where there is judgment that happens there a lot. And I understand it because there's a lot of people who they say words and they don't walk those words, or they walk a certain way and their words don't match. And I am very, very forthcoming, and I am not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. I will probably continue to make a lot of mistakes.
Of course,
Um,
human.
but I'm bold enough to say I'm going to always take a step in the right direction. I'm going to reflect and move forward. Like, I'm not going to keep letting myself look back. And I think that's a huge thing just in regular life and human life. So, okay, that's not just that. I'm also having a hot flash. Sorry, menopause.
I think it's that it's something that touches you down to your core, and so it's kind of like making you your inner glow show.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
Ah. You know what? I love that. I'm going to say that every time I get a hot flash. I'm going to be like, that's just my inner glow showing,
It's your
guys.
inner applause.
Inner glow. So a lot of us who want to give compassion to others wish that compassion had been given to us in certain circumstances. We have felt suffering, therefore we wish to alleviate suffering of others. And at Project Human, we also talk about showing up for yourself and making sure that you recharge your battery and that you try to refill your cup, as it were, the energy cup. You can look to some of our previous videos to talk about that, so that you can pour out, so that you can give. And sometimes you may desperately wish to be the loving caregiver, the merciful and compassionate person, and be so depleted or so in your own headspace that it might not be healthy to share for you or for them, and to try and guide someone else through a tough time. And you may fight your inner dialogue. Well, I signed up for this. I should keep going, even though I'm completely depleted right now. Um, I made a promise or I made a commitment and I'm a good person, therefore I can pull from my negative reserve and make it for this person, and I'll fill it up on the back end later. And these beliefs often can confuse and hurt and drain us. And I'm not saying that's exactly true for everybody, but it's a reminder that the impositions of these beliefs on us can sometimes force us, not force, but convince us to act, to think, to believe, to speak in ways that might not actually be true. Um, and that's okay. They aren't facts. It's not required that you come out of your exhausted space and make time and effort and energy for someone else. You can relax, you can recharge, you can ask for help from somebody else for a change. Um, and remember that these guilts that might come up with, I wish that I could, but right now I'm too tired, or I wish that I could, but right now I have way too much going on. The guilt is a story. You know, some of the beliefs that come with these hats, they're very helpful. Like Yolanda has helped many, many people. Daniel has taught many, many people. O'Neill has helped his daughter, his mom, his family. And we learn these beliefs sometimes, we conjure these beliefs sometimes. Sometimes we start absorbing things from school, sometimes from watching people around us, and we start to believe that this is normal, this is expected, this is true. And we repeat these things, these beliefs to ourselves. And when we're wearing the hat, we believe those things are true, and it starts to shape how we see the world. And the world starts reflecting those truths back to us to give us that reinforcement that we need. And I just want to encourage each of you that when you're putting on the hat of child or parent or personal chauffeur or caregiver or mentor, teacher, coach, peacemaker, the strong one, the organized one, that you are not chained to these roles. They do not define you. They are not your purpose in existence. As a human, you are more than enough. As a self, the hat rack, as it were, with no hats on. You are enough. You are worthy. You are wonderful. You are special. And it doesn't matter which hats you wear or how many hats you wear. That doesn't make you more valuable or more human or more real. Your reality is you. We choose these roles. Sometimes we accept these roles, but they are not us. And I encourage you to check in with yourself about the roles that you've selected and accepted in your life, um, and consider, and maybe you want to write this down in a journal, maybe this is something you want to think about later tonight or tomorrow, but is there a hat you're wearing? Or is there a story attached to a hat that you're wearing that no longer serves you, that doesn't fit?
Hat off. I was
So
messing
I'll put
around.
I'll
I was
put that
messing
in.
around. I took my hat off and threw it across the room. I'm just kidding.
It's actually very, very good. So I put it in the chat.
The computer doesn't think that you're here anymore.
Yeah, the computer doesn't think I'm here anymore because the hat came on.
So again, for those on the YouTube channel, is there a story attached to one of your hats that no longer serves you? Is there a hat that you're wearing that doesn't fit anymore, or that you maybe don't want to wear quite so often? And that's okay. Journal your thoughts about it. Write down what you feel imagining taking the hat off, or shedding a story, or questioning a responsibility, or a must, or a should, or the truth of seeing through the lens of wearing that hat. And I love it because it reminds us we don't have to stop being a role. We don't have to stop being a parent. We don't have to stop being a child. We don't have to stop being a manager. We don't have to stop being a child of God. It's not about throwing the hat away. O'Neill, you totally can, though. It's not about throwing the hat away. It's
Well,
deciding how we wear them, when we wear them,
I think the
when we
victim
take them
one.
off.
I think I
The
was
victim.
thinking the victim one is a good one to throw away
Yeah.
for myself when it comes to some stuff in the past that, like,
Take off.
it takes a while for
Yeah.
some things to deal with that, and you go through
Mhm.
your process how you do. There's no time limit. And so being a victim of this or that, at some point when you reach that acceptance or grace or whatever you want to call it, um, you let go of the hat, you can let go of that. So giving yourself permission to let go of the hat kind of thing.
I want to add to that. The flip side of the coin of victim is often considered survivor.
Let's say the
You can
victor
throw
hat.
the survivor hat
Yeah.
away. How long do you need to sit and stew in your I'm a survivor, I survived story
Absolutely.
before you can shed that and just go back to being the hat rack? Just be the
Right.
self.
Yeah.
You don't need to wear either of those identities.
And the
They
reverse of
are
that would be the attacker. Like, say you're
mm,
not the victim, but you're the one that hurt somebody else. Like, you
the
could
the
let go
guilt
of
hat.
that too, you know,
There could
which
be
is
a guilt
which could be
a guilt.
harder than the victim in some cases.
Mm,
You know what's cool
yeah.
about the whole hat thing? It's like especially the way we're talking about it is we always talk about and think like we're defining our narrative. We're trying to figure that
Mhm.
out. All of these hats are distinct sentences that we're telling ourselves or allowing other people to tell us to fill our narrative up to the point that we are in. And so it's like we get to decide what that looks like. That's the beautiful thing, right? So if the hat rack is representing our narrative and what we've decided that it's going to look like, then of course we get to 100% go, you know what? I used to wear that hat. That's no longer a winter hat. I'm gonna go ahead and give that one away. Like I don't need that anymore. Someone else, whatever. But this doesn't need to be here. And then
Which
we
is
get to
the
decide.
hardest part, it's hard
Yeah,
to do that. So
You said
it is.
something very impactful to me earlier, Jen, where you said the hats that you accepted. And
Oh,
I thought that that was interesting because, like, you know, some of these hats I feel like are kind of like imposed upon you, you know?
self-inflicted kind of.
No, like other people
Or
might,
or
by
other people.
others.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
They'll
but
push you
but
into
you
you.
accept it Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you will say, okay, I can hang out with that. And maybe you mean for it to only be like an hour or a
Mhm.
day or a week. And then suddenly you've felt that hat for a while and you feel or believe a story that if I don't wear it, no
Mhm.
one will, and
Mhm.
I'll have let them down,
Yep.
or
Mhm.
this will fail if I don't.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
these beliefs, these false truths shift. They can color your judgment. They can make you believe that you must do something, you should do something, you can't stop or else. And you know, that responsibility, that belief, that story that comes with. And Yolanda, you put it perfectly. Like, we can honor the roles, these identities that we choose, that we accept, and the responsibilities and some of the expectations that come with them without losing ourselves to them, without letting them be us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Daniel, you've been quiet. What kind of thoughts are going through your head?
I'm two questions back. I'm sorry. I don't really have much to add.
No problem. No problem. It's it's just a way of seeing the world. You know, we all are putting on all the hats we wear during the day. How we're seeing the world shifts, which one we're wearing. You know, we try
Mhm.
not to think employee thoughts when we get home. We try not to think jokester or Kesha thoughts when we walk into the office or when we go to worship in whatever place of worship we choose. Um, you know, I don't want to always be the girl that does yoga or the girl that listens to heavy metal. Sometimes I want to be the professional. Sometimes I want to be the advisor. And not everybody cares, you know, that maybe they don't care that I listen to heavy metal. Maybe they don't care that I do yoga. Maybe that's not the person they need to talk to when I'm trying to be those other identities and roles when I've got those hats on. So, closing thoughts. Tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to put on a hat and then another hat and then another hat, and you're going to take some off during the day, and you're going to keep going. And some of them you're going to enjoy wearing, and some of them are going to feel heavy and loaded. And some hats that you keep wearing might start to feel a little tight, like they don't fit anymore. My hope is that every once in a while, you pause long enough to ask yourself, is the hat helping me become the person that I want to be? Have I let the stories that came with the hat start making choices for me or shape how I see the world? Because you know, the beautiful thing is that we may not always get to choose the hats that life hands us, or when they come and go, but we can choose how we wear them, how we put on those identities or take off those identities or layer those identities. um, we get to choose if we stay present and conscious. And I think there's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah.
So wrapping it back to the 250th anniversary of the US. Any final thoughts about the topic tonight from folks that joined?
Thanks for giving us this perspective, Jen. I think it's nice to kind of reflect for a while on like that some things that may have been placed on you, you still get a choice on how to
Mhm.
handle them.
I think it's very important for us to know that we each individually have the freedom to shape our own perspective and the way that we live our lives and the choices that we make. And we have that power in ourselves, and we don't have to potentially wait for somebody else to give us the okay. We can give ourselves the okay. And I think that's a beautiful outlook on what freedom really can be.
Feel like
Freeing yourself.
knowing, go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna, Something came to mind when it comes to like personality and how a hat doesn't necessarily determine your personality, that you can
True.
have one without a hat. So,
Absolutely. The
And just,
self, the hat rack.
just so you know, Jen, all of my praise and worship's death metal. So I don't think you actually, people look at me crazy. I'm driving down the road and my 9-year-old, I pulled up the one day at the park and we were playing, she's playing with her friends. And my husband was playing with her, and she pulls up there, and you could hear it just like just, and she's like, "Oh, that's just my mom. She loves Jesus so much." And it's just funny because it's death metal type praise and
Yeah.
worship, so it's really interesting. So yeah, when we talk about a hat, I am I am those weird hats you get at like Universal Studios, like I'm weirdly shaped, I'm oddly whatever, but I'm very fun. Like that's the whole point. It's like I don't want to be the same one that I don't want to pick up their hats. I want to create my own, if that makes sense. So
We had a comment in the chat. The you who you decide you like, but you have to like enough to show up. Loving yourself. Loving is easy, but liking is hard. Like yourself. Great conversation. Thank you for that. I think freedom from a hat or an identity that you've worn for a long time can actually be uncomfortable shifting into. You might throw the hat away, but find yourself feeling very awkward without wearing it, that identity that you shuck. And I want to remind folks that that's why we have community. That's why Project Human is here, to be human to human, peer to peer, person to person, real conversation. If you are having trouble shucking an identity and you think it's unhealthy and you want to get rid of it and you want to talk to somebody about it and you just want an ear, maybe you want a problem solver, maybe you just want someone to listen. We want to listen. We want to help you because we need you the same way you need us. This is community. This is sharing. This is navigating this stuff together. So
there's
we
a
hope you
comment I'm
enjoyed.
laughing at. Did you
Oh,
read that
no
comment?
problem.
So
Shave your head.
You can wear any
Yeah.
hat.
You can wear any hat. Okay.
Like, oh,
Fashion
no.
statements as well.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody and also those listening online, we hope you enjoyed tonight's discussion. These are free monthly calls. It's one of the perks of being part of this community, and we love connecting with new people. We love connecting with you out there. We hope that you will connect with us and share this experience of being human. We are always looking for volunteers, people who have energy, skills, time, or just the desire to contribute, to expand the mission and reach and bring more humans into our community. If you've ever felt called to be part of something meaningful, this could be your moment. We would love to have you. Please visit our website. It's https www.phinc-ing.org. That's Think, Project Human Inc., thinking, a new way of thinking about life. Thank you for being part of this conversation, everybody. Next month, we're going to be talking about ceremonies of care, self-care in a beautiful way, how we use that to stay connected and true to ourselves as we recharge our batteries when they're depleted. So please stay connected. Join us next month. And as always, your voice matters, your peace matters, and you matter. Thank you so much for being on tonight. Good night, everybody.
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Good night.